Well, good afternoon, deer hunters. I hope you all are having a better season than me. I got busted coming in here. Man, my luck is not running good this year. Not at all. So I was sitting here thinking, decided I was going to eat some of these Vienna sausages. How many of you people like Vienna sausages? How many of you folks know what's in Vienna sausages? Well, you got beef and pork added to chicken broth. So that's pretty interesting, isn't it? But how many of you know that this is made basically out of the things that you definitely would not eat on the pig or the beef itself? We're talking about cartilage. We're talking about noses, ears, tails, all kinds of hooves and everything else. The feet are ground up and turned into this Vienna sausage right here. So one of the things that people don't realize when they're eating a Vienna sausage is, and I'm going to show you this, okay, especially on a cold day like it is today, you will see stuff inside here that looks like snot, okay? Well, right there it is. Hope you all can see that snot. All right, so the snot is actually the most nutritious part of this can of food right here, because it's actually bone broth or gelatin. Gelatin is the building blocks of this animal. It's also the building blocks of your cartilage. So if you throw away the snot out of these things, you're throwing away the best part of your Vienna sausage. And that's some good stuff. Basically, this is nothing but ground up guts. Tripe is guts, all kind of different parts of your animals. But they cook it down, and they cook the cartilage down, and that cartilage is what this bone broth really is. And that's what the snot is, okay? So remember that. Eat the snot out of your Vienna sausages. Because that's the best part of it. I know you folks have cooked the chicken with the bones and then set it in the refrigerator. You opened it up the next morning and there was this big old gob of jelly. Well, it's chicken broth, chicken stock, or chicken snot, the same thing. And it's the best part of the meal. Do not throw away your bone broth, your gelatin, out of your foods. See, this can right here, this got a hole. The bottom of this can right here is full of snot, okay? It's almost 12 o'clock, you all. The deer should be moving, especially the buck who's going to be going to check this trail right here. Now, I don't know what deer it was that I jumped this morning when I come up here, but the wind is continuing to change in different directions. So let's see if I can grunt here a little bit and maybe pull the deer that was over in the brush out, because I know it never really ran anywhere. It's right over there in that bedding area somewhere. Just because they smell you and run off for 100 yards don't mean they left the whole scene. And of course that don't mean they'll come back to you neither, since they've already smelled a rat. Now when you're calling a deer, you don't want to just give great big loud grunts, because when you give a big loud grunt that to a buck deer, that means that there's another deer that's in a really aggressive mood, and he may not want to tangle with him. You just he might sound way too aggressive. So just give some easy grunts. And I've heard them do it before, believe it or not. I've heard deer grunt, and that's just exactly how they sound. Very rarely will you hear a live deer grunt, but this time of the year, we've got the heat. The does are coming into heat, or the rut is on, and deers will be calling out to other deer. They would be calling out to does and everything else. Now, to go along with that, now that deer that I spooked this morning snorted at me, and I know it's a really young deer because it has a high-pitched snort, like a kid's snort, instead of a low snort like you'll hear these other older animals do. But let's do just a little bit of this deer collar that I've always got around my neck, and we're going to try to do a doe first. How many times you do that in a row, folks, I don't think it really makes any difference. If there is a deer over there that hears that and will be attracted to that call, the thing will sneak around and start trying to wind you, and that's what they do to me all the time. This year already, I've blowed this collar and called in the deer, and the deer turned around and winded me and went around and circled me to see if he could find out where I was. And sure enough, they're going to smell you. Sometimes a younger deer will run straight to this call, because I've shot too many of them that ran straight to the call. So can these deer hear me talking? I don't think so. So let's try this doe again. Oops, that was the fawn. Also, you guys, I've called in coyotes that way and foxes that way. If there's a coyote or a fox anywhere laying in the woods in the mountain right here and they hear that deer, they're going to come sneaking in there to see if they can get a piece of it. Now, you all, once you've made your call, especially for hunting like I am, and you can see the bedding area way over there across there about 200 yards away. If you'll watch the very edge of it, just keep scanning the edge of that bedding area. I've shot lots of deer who come right up to the very edge. They won't come out in the open because they know that they can be spotted very easily that way. But if you watch the very edge of that opening, sometimes you'll just see the flick of an ear, or the flick of a tail, or just the moving of the leg of a deer right in the very edge of your bedding area. So I've got a bedding area behind me. I've shot deer that come out of the bedding area behind me before. I've also shot deer over there in the other bedding area where they've just come right out on the very edge to see if they could see what was going on, since they don't smell me at the present time. So of course, if they smell you, it's going to spook them and they're going to run. But that's just the way it is when you're doing that. So I've got a predator collar right here for coyotes and bears. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeal with this predator collar. Several years ago, I called in a great big 8-point buck with a predator collar, and that dude ran straight to that predator collar like I guess he thought it was a small deer that was in stress or something, but that buck deer ran straight to this predator collar. That's the sound a lost fawn makes when it's lost and it's trying to call to its mama. That's all we really need to do. That old bruiser should be out checking the scrapes just like he was the other day when I seen him. And of course, he took that big old nose of his and he went, "There's Mike Reed. I got to get out of Dodge. He'll put a piece of lead in my hind end." So far, you all, he ain't coming out of the bushes. I can't say as I blame him though. Would you come out of the bushes? You know that I was going to put a bullet in you. Not before I forget about it there, you all, I'd like to give a shout out to the Christian Outdoorsman's channel. If you're not watching his channel, he is an up and coming channel, and he's gaining subscribers there, I think, pretty good. But anyway, I was watching him eat his Vienna sausage the other day and talking about snot, and that the juice in it looked like snot, so I thought I'd just pass that little bit of knowledge on to my buddy, the Christian Outdoorsman. And if you're not watching his channel, I advise you to do so. Now I'd like to give a shout out to Justin Peden, Spirit of the Outdoors. You're talking about a channel that's really blew up over the past year. Justin's channel is blowing up, and it's because Justin, he's just a good old feller. He's got some really good videos that he does, and you will enjoy Justin Peden, Spirit of the Outdoors. Also, Uncle Sasquatch Outdoors, my buddy Jimmy Newton. If you're not watching him and his muzzle loading episodes, you need to check these channels out. So I'm just giving them a little. And one other one there, you all, is my buddy Chris at who is Chris? Oh shucks. See, when you get old, you forget who you're talking about, you all. Duh. There we go. I knew it had finally come to me. Carolina Chris. My buddy Carolina Chris. If you want to see somebody cook a sandwich in the woods, watch Carolina Chris Outdoors. Folks, I was just getting ready to leave, but I decided that I'd come up on top of the mountain, and I just shot a deer, a buck deer, hit over 150 yards. This 30-30 rifle, and he's laying right there. Let's go check him out. Well, he ain't got a very big rack, you all. to be as big as he is. But if you'll look in that direction right yonder where the horizon is, I leaned up against a tree. I was just getting ready to leave. And I leaned up against a tree and I saw this deer walk out into the road. There's scrapes all over the place right here, and you know I've been calling on this video right here. So I saw this deer, I saw it had a rack on it, and I got it leaned up against a tree. Crack of that 30-30, that deer dropped right straight on the ground right where he's laying. So I'm gonna have to get him field dressed up here, and I've got way more than a mile to drag this deer out of the mountain. All right, you all, perfect shot right in the neck. The deer was turned looking that direction right there, and I hit that deer right square in the neck. All right, you all, he's just a little four-corn four-pointer. I'll tie a piece of rope right around his horns, his antlers, and we'll see if we can get him on to the house. I'm still shaking after I killed that deer right there. But I want you to know one thing, I had just about given up today and decided to go home, and that's exactly what I was doing when I looked down the road right here. And I saw this animal standing down here. I didn't care whether it was a bucket or a doe because it's doe day. But anyway, we have taken this deer, thank the good Lord. That is 6 days. 6 days. Anyway, thank you, Jesus. Now, Lord, help me get this thing to the house. Jimmy Newton and all the rest of you fellas, where are you when I need you? Oh, Lord, you all. All right. I'm a half a mile back toward the homestead. Unfortunately, this road runs out right here for me. I have to turn straight down the mountain. That straight down the mountain part won't be too bad. It's that other half a mile to the back door that will be the fun and games. Oh, man. So, once you get your trophy on the ground, and you're not one of them people that runs around on your four-wheeler shooting them off your four-wheeler, the fun commences. Real mountain man stuff, you all. That's what happens when you kill a deer here in Virginia and you don't hunt off a four-wheeler. 100 yards that way is the stand where I was calling from. I got up and left the stand since I hadn't seen any deer and got you know, busted. Went to the top of this mountain and then a half a mile in that direction. I don't think the camera angle gives you the perspective here of how steep this really is. Oh Lord, y'all. To put this in perspective for you, I'm just going to, to put this stuff in this video to show you how hunting in the mountains really is. Especially when you don't have a helper to help you drag or do anything else, carry your gun for you or something. But from now on, I'm going to carry an empty backpack and quarter the deer up if it's that far back, and carry it out in a backpack. I did want the skin on this deer. I hate to waste the skin on a deer. I don't really care that much about the head. The rack's not that big, but the meat, I'm not going to waste the meat, of course. But at other places where I hunt, the main road is within 300 yards of a lot of the times where I'm standing, and I can get to the vehicle pretty easy. But right here, if you can take a look right there, I just came down that right there, and there lays that deer. He's done wallered all 2 pieces. And I've still got about 4/10 of a mile before I get to the big. Anybody know how old that old deer is right there? Looks like about a 3-year-old to me. Anybody can guess. He don't have a very big snout on him. He's got like a young looking head. But I can tell you one thing right now. Right now he weighs like 1,000 pounds. You guys, about 2/10 of a mile to go. Maybe just a little bit more than that. I will say this. I learned over the years of hunting in the mountains that you don't just shoot a deer and watch it run somewhere. If I had not knocked this deer down right where it was standing, it would be either over on the bottom of the south side of the mountain over there somewhere, where I'd had to chop it up in chunks and brought it out, or down over here on some other land over here on the other side of the mountain. So in the mountains, you drop that deer dead in his tracks, which is what I done. He didn't even feel a thing. He didn't even flinch. When I pulled the trigger, he just fell over dead. I hit him right dead in the neck, and that put him right where he was standing. He never took one. Well, you all, at about 60 yards. Check this out. I can tell you one thing right now, that's a lot of work for an old timer. So what I've been doing now, since this last 3/10 of a mile, I'm dragging him like 150 foot and putting him down, like I'm doing right here. I'm dragging him another 150 foot and putting him down. It's the only way I know to get him over there and get him on the rack. But 60 yards, a little more, and we done. Oh my God. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Let's hang him up, you all see what he weighs in at. I'm going to climb a ladder. You all see how much he weighs. It's definitely bleeding all over the floor there. Alright, he's not quite off the floor. Now he is. So you all, way better than a guess. Field dressed deer right here. You would look at that deer, and I just drug this deer over a mile and a half, okay? It felt like it weighed a ton. This deer weighs exactly 100 pounds field dress. Right there we are on the 100. Hope you guys can see that. See that? So, you hear a lot of people going, man, that daggone deer I killed weighed 300 pound field dressed. Not hardly. Not hardly. I'm not saying there ain't some big old deer out there. I've killed plenty of big deer. I killed a deer of this size last year. Weighed about the same amount. He was an 8-pointer. And that's what it weighed, field dressed, with his guts took out. Now imagine, you just drug it, you just called that in and drug it off the mountain, over 1.5 miles. Blah! Don't wonder you feel like you're about dead, Mike. Anyway, you all, I really appreciate you watching this video. God bless you. I hope you learned something from it. And I hope you enjoy deer hunting as much as I do. Now it's jerky making time and hamburger making time. Have a great day.